if you limit yourself to what your body can produce or what your mind can conjure, that means you aren't aware of your limitless being, which is the foundation of both the body and the mind. I just had a video about abundance and an abundant way of thinking. And although I was speaking to having an abundant mindset, it's important to note that the most abundant part of yourself is beyond the mind. The part of yourself with the greatest potential, that holds the most creative energy, that's ability to expand, is beyond our comprehension. That part of yourself is beyond the mind and the body. Now, some of those and some of the things I'm speaking to might be foreign concepts to people, like the idea, I'm not my body. You couldn't be. Your body is an awesome tool, a beautiful vessel that we've been granted to experience through. But to claim it as yourself and to go even further and have it be one of the few and only things you identify with, that'd just be silly. Think about it. When you riding in your car, you know damn well that you're not the car. You're yourself, and you're riding in the car. The body is just the same, but for some odd reason, we look at it differently. Instead of seeing ourselves as souls at the control panel or at the steering wheel of our earthly vehicle, we look at ourselves as flesh, and we act like it as well. Our every action being guided from our sense desires. Whatever your mouth wants to taste, you have to go get it. Whatever your hands or your dick wants to feel, it has to go touch. Whatever your mouth wants to say, it has to be spoken. There's no control between you and your vessel because you haven't broke that identification with the vessel. There is awareness beyond the body. There is ways to feel beyond the senses. These are the ideas we must investigate. And under investigation of the body and our permanent self that lies beyond that, what often tend to do is they get stuck in the mental concoction. The Bhagavad Gita describes it as mental concoction, which is basically all the thoughts, all the feelings, the ego, the character, the personas, all the mind jargon. So people get into the research that I'm not my body, and they stumble across some spiritual knowledge, and what we are quick to do is intellectualize this spiritual knowledge, not knowing that that's getting us further from the truth. See, my guru, Bhagavan Josiah, said that most people only intellectually understand spiritual truths. It's a whole nother ballpark integrating that and keeping that your focus. Because the mind can only go so far. Where the mind will not will, the Dharma will reach. Your mind has so many limits on it. Some that I bet you might not even be attuned to. Have you ever had a time where a thought led your decision making? And you go back and really reflect and you get to thinking, that thought wasn't even me. That was an idea that was implanted in my brain. Maybe from somebody else. Maybe from a TV show you watched. A music video you listened to. Or maybe an old experience you went through. And it's interesting how these ideas and thoughts that we receive from our outer world come back and play inside of us and end up guiding the outer world that we create. That's why it's essential to recognize our awareness beyond our mind. The easiest way to recognize your awareness, whether that be beyond the mind and the body, is look how you talk about things. For example, people will say, my mind. Well, this is my mind. You can't tell me how to think. Whose mind is it? Your mind. Because how people also speak is so contradictory, because they'll speak as though they are the mind, yet they still claim that the mind has an owner or has somebody that represents before it. And that's why things like jnana yoga or studying the great sages and gurus like Siddhameshwar Maharaj or Nisargadatta Maharaj or Ramana Maharshi is amazing, and that's one of the greatest practices in your sadhana, is because it helps you to investigate the nature of awareness, the nature of consciousness. It helps you to better understand what that looks like, to continue to inquire and to search for the undeniable part of yourself, that which does not change. See, because when people identify with the mind, they say things like, I'm a this type of person, or this is my type of character, or I do these type of things. But not knowing that that's just the state of your mind at the moment. Your mind changes on the regular. Somebody could go from eating steaks, lamb, and pork every day, and then they have a change of mind and they say, I want to be a vegetarian now. It's not like your soul, called you to do that. You just shifted your mind. And you can shift it right back. So you're not the vegetarian and you're not the meat eater. Rather, you're the pure awareness being witness to you, that changing in the mind. But without investigation, you will claim to be the actual idea itself. And that is where torment and suffering comes along, because the more you identify with something so temporary, like the body or the mind, when that temporary thing verifies its temporary existence, you may feel hurt. may feel hurt. For example, we'll use that vegetarian example again. You in your mind had built a strong disgust for eating meat, so you stopped eating meat. And now after a while, your body has adjusted, your friends have adjusted, and so everybody knows you as the vegetarian. The moment you decide to eat some meat again, it's going to cause some affliction. Some suffering will happen if you are attached. See, this is why. If your body's attached to this meal or to eating in that type of manner, then when you throw some hard to eat meat in there, your tummy going to be rumbling. Or better yet, when you tell all your friends, look, y'all, I'm a vegetarian, I'm not eating meat no more. And then you go out with them and they see you eating a Philly cheesesteak, they gonna say, bro, you lying, bro, you faking, you're not a vegetarian. That might cause you some type of shame or maybe some type of guilt. But I bring them examples up to explain how when you get attached to a temporary state of body or a temporary state of mind, what happens is when that temporary state fades, as it will, suffering may arise if attachment is there. But if you are unattached, aware of your infinite potential beyond the body, beyond the mind, then every action that you take will be in bliss. Every word that you speak will be in alignment with the will, because you aren't attached to an earthly pride or a fleshly hunger or a mental concoction. No. Rather, you sit back and abide in the true potential, the true source, the true bliss that is a Satguru. On the path, one doesn't strive for victory over an opponent. Rather, one strives to avoid defeat by one's own self.